This brother shares that he was stuck under the rubble for 4 days, but it felt like 4 hours for him. He said that he was dreaming of eating and being so full. And he says that you hear narratives of children who say that someone was visiting them, someone who was wearing white and feeding them. And a Turkish sister shared that there was a mother who was frantically trying to get crews to help take her children out of the rubble. And alhamdulillah, they finally did, and the children came out safely, and then they couldn't find the woman anywhere. And so they asked the 13-year-old boy, "Where is your mom?" And the boy looked at him and said that his mother had passed 4 years ago. There are incredible stories of hope that come out in this immense devastation. But there are also so many questions like, why did it happen in the first place? And what about all the people who are still stuck and who hadn't made it out? Umar radiallahu anhu, he used to pray for martyrdom in Medina, and people would say, how are you going to be a martyr in Medina? Medina is like such a safe place. Wars don't happen in Medina. And yet he was stabbed in his prayer. He died from that wound, and inshallah, he was considered a martyr. So many of you pray to be martyrs, knowing that you're not going to be on a battlefield, but you make that dua anyway. You ask that you be counted as a martyr anyway. And right now, subhanAllah, one of the ways that people are considered a martyr is when they die through a building collapsing on them. Ya Allah. I don't know if there were people who used to pray that they be martyrs and they couldn't have imagined that they actually would be considered, inshallah, the people of the highest paradise. There's a narrative in the Crusades through Arab eyes of a school teacher who was in Syria. He stepped out of the classroom because he really had to use the restroom. And in that time period, there was a huge earthquake. By the time he was able to come back to his students, all of them had passed away. There was complete rubble, and he sat on the rubble and he wondered, how is he going to break the news to the parents of all of these kids, only to find later that all of the parents had died in the same earthquake. We don't know their names today. We literally have no clue who they are. Most of us probably didn't know there was a huge earthquake at that time, but their names have never been forgotten with the one who is in the heavens. Their status is one that we can only imagine, even though centuries later, no one knows who they were. All of us know we have limited time here on earth. It's incredibly sobering, and when a disaster of this magnitude takes place, sometimes we question why. What is our role? Why do these things happen? And I know that some of you have asked about your own faith. And if you're struggling with your faith right now, I am sitting with you in that process, and I'm holding space for you. But sometimes the people there are the ones whose faith are the strongest. A man under the rubble asked for water to make wudu. A grandmother who was saved refused to come out until she had a hijab that they gave her. What's helped me is knowing who Allah is. Knowing the reality of who He is can help us process and allow us to see beyond ourselves and ask how we can help.